Pixar somehow hid teenage hormones, political references, parenting jokes, and even one joke most adults still missed inside Turning Red. By the end of this video, you'll never watch the movie the same way again. Pixar wastes no time letting you know that Turning Red isn't just another kid's movie. One of the funniest and most awkward moments comes when Ming discovers May's secret sketchbook. Instead of innocent doodles, it's filled with romantic drawings of Devon, the teenage convenience store clerk. Some even imagine him as a shirtless merman. It's hilarious because every parent immediately understands what's happening, while May desperately wishes the ground would swallow her whole. The scene isn't just there for laughs. It's Pixar's surprisingly honest way of showing the beginning of adolescence, when harmless childhood crushes suddenly become far more intense. It's awkward, embarrassing, and painfully relatable, which is exactly why so many adults cringed while watching it. Things somehow get even worse. After finding the sketchbook, Ming doesn't simply talk to her daughter. She marches straight to Devon's workplace and publicly confronts him in front of a line of confused customers.
You! What have you done to my Maymay?
Who?
The poor cashier has absolutely no idea what's happening. On the surface, it's one of the funniest scenes in the movie, but underneath the comedy is a painfully accurate joke about overprotective parents. Ming isn't actually angry with Devon. She's panicking because she's realizing her daughter is growing up, and she completely loses perspective. If you've ever had a parent embarrass you in public, this scene probably hurt to watch. For almost the entire movie, Tyler acts like the typical school bully. He constantly mocks May and her friends for obsessing over the boy band Four Town, making it seem like he's far too cool to care. Then Pixar quietly reveals the truth. During the concert, Tyler is right there in the crowd wearing official Four Town merchandise.
Tyler? No! Tyler? Who's Tyler?
Singing every lyric and even crying with everyone else. It's a brilliant payoff because it completely changes how you see his character. Tyler never hated the band. He loved them just as much as everyone else. He was simply pretending not to because he thought that's what boys were supposed to do. It's a surprisingly mature joke about peer pressure and toxic masculinity. Just when the movie reaches its emotional climax, Pixar sneaks in one of its boldest jokes. To stop her giant red panda mother from destroying everything around her, May comes up with an unexpected distraction. She starts twerking, but the joke lands very differently for adults. Ming's horrified reaction says it all. She instantly freezes, clearly more disturbed by her daughter's dancing than the massive destruction happening around her. It's a hilarious exaggeration of a real parenting fear. Watching your child suddenly embrace trends or dance moves that make you want to disappear from pure embarrassment. By the end of the movie, May has finally learned to embrace who she is. So when she's about to leave the temple with her friends, she proudly keeps her panda ears and tail instead of hiding them. Her mother immediately asks,
"You're not going out like that, are you?"
My panda, my choice, Mom.
It's an easy line to laugh at, but many adults immediately recognized what Pixar was referencing. The phrase is a playful twist on the political slogan, "Instead of making a political statement," the movie uses it to capture something almost every teenager experiences, wanting the freedom to express themselves while their parents wish they'd dress or act a little differently. It's one of those jokes that completely flies over younger viewers, but gets an instant reaction from adults. One of the movie's quickest jokes is so easy to miss that it flies by in just a few seconds. During the chaotic dodgeball game, the gym teacher shouts, "Eyes on the balls, guys!"
Eyes on the balls, guys! Be water! Be water!
Most people hear it as random coaching advice, but "be water" is actually one of Bruce Lee's most famous quotes.
Be formless, shapeless, like water. Be water, my friend.
He used it to describe staying calm, adaptable, and flowing around obstacles instead of fighting against them. It's a clever line to include because that's exactly what May spends the entire movie learning. The harder she tries to suppress her emotions, the worse everything gets. Once she accepts who she is instead of resisting it, everything changes. Pixar clearly wanted Turning Red to feel like the early 2000s, and even the phones help sell that illusion. Look closely whenever the students pull out their cell phones. They aren't using Nokia phones, they're using Jokia phones. Changing one letter is a classic movie trick that lets filmmakers reference real brands without using the actual trademark. But anyone who grew up in the early early 2000s immediately recognized the inspiration. It's a small visual joke, but it's also one of the many details that makes the movie feel like a genuine snapshot of life in 2002. May's first transformation isn't just inspired by puberty, it's also a clever tribute to an 80s cult classic. When May locks herself in the bathroom and catches her first glimpse of the giant red panda in the mirror, the scene closely mirrors one of the most memorable moments from Teen Wolf. Just like May, Michael J. Fox's character discovers he's suddenly transformed into something he doesn't understand. Both characters panic, stare at themselves in disbelief, and desperately try to keep their parents from finding out what's happening behind the bathroom door. It's a subtle homage that most younger viewers wouldn't recognize, but movie fans immediately caught the reference. Pixar didn't invent the look of Four Town from scratch. The band's white outfits during the concert are a clear nod to one of the biggest boy bands in history, the Backstreet Boys. If you've ever seen their iconic I Want It That Way music video, the inspiration becomes obvious. Every member wears a different all-white outfit, creating the same coordinated but unique look that Four Town uses on stage. It's the perfect reference because Turning Red is set in the early 2000s, right when boy bands were dominating pop culture. For younger viewers, it's just a catchy fictional group. For adults, it's a nostalgic trip back to the peak of the boy band era. There's another early 2000s reference hiding in plain sight. Throughout the movie, May carries a tiny egg-shaped digital pet attached to her backpack and constantly worries about taking care of it. That's a Tamagotchi. If you grew up in the late 90s or early 2000s, you probably remember how addictive they were. Kids had to feed them, clean up after them, and keep them alive throughout the day. Some schools even banned them because students couldn't stop checking on their virtual pets during class. It's a tiny detail, but it instantly transports older viewers back to one of the biggest toy crazes of the era. Tyler's look wasn't designed by accident. If you pay close attention, you'll notice he wears a white band-aid on his cheek throughout much of the movie. That wasn't just a random fashion choice. It's a reference to rapper Nelly, who made the face band-aid one of the most recognizable trends of the early 2000s. After his music exploded in popularity, countless teenagers copied the look simply because it was considered cool. Since Turning Red takes place in 2002, it's exactly the kind of trend someone like Tyler would have followed. Turning Red is one of the few Pixar movies set in a real city, and the filmmakers packed it with local details. One of the easiest to miss is Tyler's purple basketball jersey. It's modeled after the Toronto Raptors' original uniform, complete with the famous dinosaur design that became iconic during Vince Carter's time with the team. For anyone who grew up in Toronto, that jersey instantly dates the movie to the early 2000s. It's a subtle nod to the city itself, reminding viewers that Turning Red isn't just inspired by Toronto, it proudly celebrates it. One of the funniest scenes in Turning Red is secretly filmed like a battlefield. After May and her friends are told they can't go to the Four Star Town concert, gym class erupts into complete chaos. Dodgeballs fly through the air in slow motion as students dive for cover. The sequence feels strangely dramatic for a simple school game, and that's intentional. Pixar borrowed visual techniques often seen in war films like Saving Private Ryan. The slow motion shots, the frantic camera movement, and the feeling of total chaos transform an ordinary dodgeball match into an over-the-top battlefield. It's a clever way of showing just how catastrophic teenage problems can feel, even when the stakes seem small to everyone else. Here's a reference that almost every kid watching missed. Early in the movie, May and Priya greet each other with an elaborate handshake that's perfectly synchronized from start to finish. It isn't something Pixar invented. The handshake is a direct recreation of the famous greeting shared by Will Smith and DJ Jazzy Jeff in The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. The timing, the movements, and even the finishing pose closely match the iconic handshake that became one of the show's most recognizable moments.